wants to know who decides what weapons and tools a character has.
Yes. Who decides what weapons and tools? Okay. There are two ways of going about this, one of which is what's called a generator, a character generator. That's the dice. Or it can be a computer generator, and you can get these online. You can download some of these mechanisms. They cost money, but you can download a character generator. Third source actually is books. There are books that will help you to generate a character. But basically, the decision about what weapons they're carrying happens in the dice. You'll roll a 20-sided, for instance, which will give you some percentages, or you'll roll a percentage die, which is effectively a 100-sided die, or you can make a 20-sided into 100, or you can make a 10-sided die into a percentage die. The 10-sided die, anything from, let's say, 1 to 10, anything from 1 to 9 means you carry a knife. Anything from, let's say, 10 to 19, you carry an axe. Anything from 20 to 29, you carry a bow, and so forth. And there's a table of weapons, and so the dice determine which weapon or weapons you're carrying. How many weapons you carry is determined by another die, the roll of yet another die, which would be a 6-sided or a 4-sided die.
Another common way of generating it is at the beginning of a game, you would have a certain amount of money, gold, and then you would spend that to equip yourself. The way that I prefer for this type of scenario, since we're beginning with basically not basic characters, these are more advanced characters. The players may not be advanced, but the characters are, is that the character would tend to have what you think the character has within the laws of the game.
Actually, my preference is, or you have a predetermined, that's what you mean, a predetermined set.
They have a predetermined set, but it's
Right.
within the laws of the game, which means that every single character, unless you provide a backstory that explains it, every character contains at least one pouch or pocket of some form. Because you can't exist in this world without having something to carry something. To have 0 pockets,
Or a
0
sack.
pouches, 0 sacks, no containers whatsoever would require that character belong to some weird cult and have taken some strange vow to never carry anything, which is possible.
There is a cult like that in Africa, which carries nothing, and they burn down their village once a year, their entire village.
So you provide us with a backstory on why you don't have a pouch, then we'll believe it. If you don't think that you have fire starters, I'm sorry. In this type of world, every single individual
Every member of your party will have a fire starter.
of some sort, you have to.
Yeah,
Because
but
you're
you can't in this world suddenly whip out a BlackBerry or what is it, iPod or
Yeah, iPhone.
iPhone, and be calling because there's no satellites, so it's going to be useless.
And the thief, if the thief has a crossbow, you have to provide a very convincing backstory beforehand on why the thief would have a crossbow, because a crossbow is not a thief weapon. They just don't carry crossbows.
It's too bulky, too cumbersome, and too slow for a thief.
And too noisy.
Too obvious.
Thieves
a thief
have
will
to
use a
move
knife, or he'll use a garrote.
Now, if you tell us this backstory of why the thief has a crossbow, we may accept it.
If we believe it, if it's consistent with logic of this world, we may agree. All right, you can carry a crossbow.
But it will dramatically affect things
Right.
like I walk stealthily up behind the ogre And we go, okay, sure. Okay, clang, clang, clang.
Clank, clank.
Yeah, the ogre hears you.
Crossbow.
Even if you throw a 20.
Or
Yeah.
if you think that you are carrying 5 weapons,
Which one are you going to switch to? What do you do with the other 4?
and how are you carrying 5 weapons?
Where are you carrying them?
These things are
And
heavy.
how much weight is this? And how is that going to slow you down and slow the party down as a result? Will the party go on ahead of you and you're going to be back alone in the dark?
Yeah, where's the
Things like
dog in
that.
the cart? The dog cart that's trailing you.
So you need to consider all those things. We have to consider those things, and we have to actually call your attention to those things when you step over the bounds. That's enough for today, you guys.
Okay,
All right.
thank you.
Here's your dice.
Oh, yes.